The smoke alarm screamed the second my boot hit the top stair, and in that ugly orange flicker, I saw oily rags smoldering in a little nest, and a fresh V-cut hand-sawn into the main beam under our future bedroom. That wasn't a mistake or a code issue. That was a message clear as a boot print on a white rug. Somebody wanted my house to fail from the inside out, and they were willing to light it to make their point. My name's Ethan Walker. I fix tired things for a living, old timber that still wants to carry weight windows that haven't opened since the last good summer stories people forgot they lived in. And when I bought Redwood Hollow Lodge, a 150-year-old cabin mansion on 5 acres outside Maple County, I knew exactly what I was getting into. Raccoons in the eaves daylight, through the roof steps that complained like old knees. And the sweet part for me was the parcel map tucked in the folder that said, "Plain as daylight." I was outside Cedar Ridge Estates, not in their HOA, not under their rule book. Day 3 proved the rule book was going to try me anyway. I'm on the porch, easing a rotten trim board, like you coax a splinter out of a finger, when a beige golf cart fishtails into my gravel dust falling on a paint job. So neutral it looks allergic to color. 2 more carts behind it, and out. Steps a woman with a visor, a haircut sharp enough to julienne, a cucumber and a clipboard that could probably issue parking tickets by itself. "Mr. Walker," she says like a summons. It's 6:02 a.m., and her red nail slaps an orange sticker onto my porch post. Unapproved exterior color. $200 a day. And I blink because the color is wood. The finish is called Wonduam 50 years of rain and sun. And I say it. That plain. "Ma'am, the color is wood." And she doesn't smile. She just says, "Legacy clause." Like she pulled a secret switch, then the line. I will never forget. That lodge is earmarked for my son's future. Yeah, that happened. And the board squad behind her in matching polos is plastering notices on my door and freshly glazed window like they're decorating for a party no one wants to attend. I take photos, not bait. Send an email to Maple County Code, and 10 minutes later, I've got a 1-sentence reply that hits harder than a speech. HOA has no authority outside its recorded boundary. I print it, frame it, hang it by the thermostat, like a little trophy just to make myself smile when I walk past. Next morning, I find a heavy chain across my own driveway, padlocked to posts set overnight in wet concrete. A big shiny sign that says, "Private property of Cedar Ridge Estates." Like my land got annexed while I slept. And before I can decide whether to cut it or call a 4th cart, glides in sideways, and a big guy in a stretched polo climbs out and says, "Can't you read the signs, pal?" Gravel voice furniture. Mover shoulders. And I say, "I can read great. The problem is the signs on my land." And he grins and says, "Vehicle access. Request 72-hour processing." Like I need a hall pass to leave my house. And when I say, "You're unlawfully detaining me," he steps in and gives me a 2-handed shove that puts a dent in my morning. And I'm not going to lie. My feet slid. But I didn't fall. And my phone was already angled with the camera rolling. You know what I mean? Sometimes the only thing that keeps a bully honest is a lens. So I lower the phone slow so he sees it and say, "Real even." Every second, including the part where you put your hands on me after you blocked my driveway. Tell Karen she's going to need a better lawyer. That afternoon, I order cameras for every corner and a doorbell with a microphone so clean you can hear embarrassment. I call my buddy Ben Ortiz, who loves Latin. "And case law the way I love old pine," he says. Start a folder paper beats loud. And he's right, because 2 days later, a courier delivers a thick envelope with Ellis pendants on top, like a dark cloud. Over a deed, and the stamp is trying hard to look official. But if you've handled real filings, you know the bite of true ink. This one looks Halloween. Wrong seal. Wrong font. Wrong. Everything, so I walk it to the clerk, and the woman behind the glass taps the number twice, compares papers. Then lifts her eyes and says in a voice that could slice sheetrocks or walkers, "This stamp isn't ours. This was never recorded here." And when I ask for a notarized letter, she nods and says she's copying the district attorney. I walk out an inch taller, and there's a fresh red stop work order glued to my new camera pole, citing a committee that doesn't exist. So it goes in the evidence box, too, because now I'm collecting lies. The way I collect old nails that still hold. Nights go quiet for a minute, then too quiet. I'm at the big hearth late with a trowel. The house has a language I'm starting to understand. So when a floorboard upstairs creaks in a rhythm that doesn't belong, every hair on my arm hears it. And then that bitter chemical smoke slides under the door, and I know before I see it. Oily rags smoldering in a little cone against sawdust, and a fresh V-notch cut deep into the 12-inch hand-hewn beam in the perfect spot. To fail under load later. Somebody planned tonight and tomorrow in the same breath, so I call out to Lena. We do the drill we practiced. She's at the oak by the road with her phone. I hit the fire with the extinguisher. The deputies come. They're polite and careful and unconvinced, because shadows in hoodies don't sign their names. But the motion camera caught a figure slipping in and out, and that clip goes into the folder with a date and time, and the hiss of my breathing in the mic. Next morning, I take a walk to Mike Turner's garage. Retired mechanic wrenches and wisdom everywhere, and I point at the county right-of-way, full of HOA signs like mushrooms. Illegal, he says. They do it every season. And I grin and say, community gardening. And in an hour, we've got a truck bed full of found property stacked under fluorescent lights at the sheriff's office, the desk deputy. Trying not to laugh while he prints tags. And on the ride back, Mike says the thing that connects all my loose ends. Old Hemlock carved your parcel out on purpose, never meant to be in Cedar Ridge. That's why she wants it. It's the piece that says no. And you know how an idea moves from your head to your backbone. That's what this felt like. So I call county surveyor. Gary Lawson, hence inked by Maps, voice like a flat edge, 10 a.m. Tuesday. He says I send a certified letter inviting President Whitmore to attend to resolve any and all confusion, because people who live on power can't resist a stage. Tuesday is bright and honest, and the pink ribbons on Lawson's stakes snap in the little breeze, while he works the line like a surgeon tripods. Readings numbers fired to a young assistant, who writes them like scripture, and when he plants the last stake and rolls out a yellowed master plat on his truck hood, he draws a thick line and taps a tidy box labeled Redwood Hollow Lodge, excluded parcel. Then looks up and says, real plain. This parcel has never been in Cedar Ridge exercising HOA authority. Across this line is trespass, and I swear the wind got louder for a second. Or maybe that was just Karen's silence, because her binder map suddenly looked like fan fiction. If this was just about fences, she would have left right then. But that afternoon, an email from a nobody address lands in my inbox with a zip file and a password. You could guess in one try, beige, and inside are minutes that never got shared, spreadsheets that smell like secrets, and a crystal clear email chain with Brookstone Development Group. the kind of developer that erases and redraws whole neighborhoods, and there's an option contract with an expiration a few weeks out, contingent on delivering the entire original estate footprint, including my 5 acres. And right there is a facilitation fee wired directly to Karen Whitmore, $2 million. So the motive I'd been tasting like metal finally steps into full color. That night, I put up a 1-page site with scans side by side, the forged list pendants and the notarized letter, the fake violations and the real county code, the driveway. Shove with the timestamp. No adjectives, no sermons, just receipts. Then we slide flyers into mailboxes like bedtime stories, and wait. The next day, my doorbell camera catches Karen on my porch, clutching a flyer like it owes her rent. Take that site down, this is slander, and from my workshop I talk through the mic. Is the clerk slandering you, or the surveyor, or the video of your guy shoving me? If you don't like the facts, stop making them. And she leaves with her mouth moving and no words that help. She plans a historical tour to shame my project, and I invite Arthur Hale from the County Historical Society. Tweed jacket, big smile, who reads wood like a diary and calls my joinery museum grade, then points at Cedar Ridge's vinyl and ornamental pears and says they're historically allergic, and the neighbors start realizing the loudest person in the room isn't always the most honest. 2 weeks later, the annual HOA meeting feels like a small-town election night. Every chair full, people lining the back wall. Karen rushes the agenda like speed limits don't apply and tries to skip right past new business with her eyes anywhere but me. But I stand and cite Section 7, Paragraph 3 about non-members being allowed to speak on matters of shared community interest, and a retired judge named Renner clears his throat. The way mountains move and says, "Let him speak," and I do small voice on purpose. Projector humming master plat. Up first with Lawson's line, then the driveway. Shove, then the forged filing beside the clerk's letter. Then a still of the smolder and the nasty V notch. And finally, the Brookstone option, with the contingency clause, the expiration date, the road drawn straight through my living room, and the line about $2 million to one person. The room goes from quiet to loud to almost shaking, and she bangs the gavel, shouting out of order, while people are saying words you don't print on church programs. And Judge Renner says, "What I'm hearing describes forgery, fraud, conspiracy assault," and nods toward the back doors. And 2 deputies step in with the kind of posture that settles a room. And one of them says, polite as Sunday, "Ms. Whitmore, you'll need to come with us." And there's this little tapped-out sound of a gavel handle on a folding table that I will not forget, because it sounded like giving up. The door clicks shut behind her, and the neighbors call for a vote to remove, and then a vote to dissolve. And hands go up, because sometimes tired people decide they're done being tired. And the sign at the entrance comes down a few days later, with a court-appointed receiver and a deputy who looks like he woke up happy. And Mike walks over with coffee and says, "End of an error." And for the first time in weeks, I laugh without it catching in my throat. We go back to work because winning doesn't hang the doors or set the last pane of glass I sand. And stain and sister old joists until the place remembers how to stand proud. And on Saturdays, we prop the porch door open, and neighbors come by and say small, simple things, like "nice work," and "we're glad you stayed," and the little pink ribbons weather away. But the line they marked stays where lines always stay. Quiet, unsentimental, true. And if I'm being honest, Here's the piece that keeps me up. Some nights, did I go too far when I posted everything instead of parking it with a DA and waiting half a year? Or did I not go far enough, considering somebody cut a beam under my wife's bed and tucked a match into rags? Are HOAs the problem, or is it the way we let the loudest people run them? Because the newsletter looks neat. Would you have voted to dissolve or tried to fix the system from the inside? Peace or justice, which one buys you a quiet porch where you live? If you're still with me, tell me what you think is fair in a mess like this. Drop a comment. If you've seen petty rules turn into real harm, push back. If you disagree, share your own story so the rest of us can learn where the lines really are hit. Like if these true fights told plain matter to you. Subscribe if you want more old wood and hard lessons, and tell me where you're watching from so I can say, hey, next time.